you do that? Wow, easy. Click, drag, and drop. How would you do that? Wow, that's easy. Click, drag, and drop. How I did that. Hello, this is EBTL0947, Paul James Chapman. User had asked one of my subscribers, or not a subscriber, someone had asked me how I did my sister's video, or her DVD actually. So let me just go ahead and just go ahead and preview the entire DVD here. Let's wait for it to Yeah, I have it on low. Camtasia and everything else I have is really just slowing everything down. For it to loop, because it's going to loop a little bit. It's going to loop right here. I'm just going to go ahead and just select the chapters menu. See our little menus appear. Now this one I hope I fixed, because before when it looped, it left the text back on the screen, so hopefully this works. Actually I think it did. I think I fixed it. Let's see what happens here. Moves back. Oh yeah, that's good. We click the actual chapter, it'll play, and then if we hit, what was it? The menu button, it would actually go back to the menu. Here's our little back button that takes us. We can use the cursor keys. Now, unfortunately, I couldn't figure out how to actually get it to just go right straight back to the loop area, as opposed to playing back this entire animation. So I'm just going to close that down. Okay, that's our menu. Okay, but before we actually get to this stage, you actually have to create the actual menus themselves, and that is a process I'm not going to talk about, because you can do that in any, whether it's a non-linear editor like Sony Vegas, which is what I did here. Here's the actual menu, and you just create it in your video editor, or you can do it in After Effects, whatever. You just have to make sure that when you do it, you have to prepare ahead of time where you want your little icons and whatnot to appear. Like for this one, I had planned to have the icons draw on screen, as you can see here. They're drawing on screen. They'll appear right here, right around here is when they appear. And here's when they appear. Should probably set this to a actually I think they appear, yeah, there they go. And this is at the point at this point is where it actually starts to loop in the actual menu in DVD Architect. So if we go to the main menu here, page 1, we have to wait for it to build. I have a 2 gigahertz processor, 2 gigabytes RAM PC, so everything's pretty slow on my computer. Anyway, let's go back here. As you can see, you have to make sure you have everything planned out so that you know where it's gonna start and where it's gonna end. Because at this point in the DVD authoring program, this is where you're gonna create the loop. And by loop, I mean this little line right here. You know, this is where you there it's appeared right there. This is where we're gonna have our icons appear. Now, if we drop back a little bit on our timeline, we'll see that they're there, but you'll notice if you look closely, you'll see that's when the menu buttons appear. If you see them very closely, you can see those little dark dots, and that's what it means by menu loop. Okay, so when you create your menu in Sony Vegas or After Effects or Premiere Pro, you have to keep that in mind. Another thing to also keep in mind is when you create your chapters menus, and this is something I didn't anticipate when I created the chapter menus for this particular project. Hold on, I don't want anyone. Yeah, there we go. Now, when I created the chapters menu, I did it so that it would start with the main menu, as you saw here. When it starts with a brief clip of the main menu. Well, as you just saw, when I exited out then you can see the menu is only on screen for like 1 second, one very brief second, not even like a full, so like less than a second. But as you see, as you already saw, when someone goes back out of the menu, out of the DVD back to the menu, you can briefly see the beginning of the screen again, and that's inconsistent. So usually you might want to be a little, what I couldn't figure out was how to go straight back to the actual menu itself and skip the previous animation. I'm still learning DVD Architect, and hopefully I will learn how to, when someone presses the what is it, the menu button, it actually goes back to the loop instead of actually replaying the animation. So that's what I'm trying to figure out how to do. And so that's basically it, really. There's really no point in me telling you how I actually create the menus, because again, you can do that in any NLE, any video editor. It's just, as you can see, it's just text, simple animation. You know, it's not even just one track. The one thing I should tell you is that when you're creating menus for a DVD Architect, this is very, very important. And a lot of people do not do this. They just simply refuse to follow the workflow. When you create menus for DVD Architect, it is absolute. They actually have default settings, or maybe it's 2. Yeah, there we go. It's MPG2. I'm sorry, my bad. It's MPG2, and they have default settings for DVD Architect. Now, it may not appear that the settings offer what you want, but the important thing is you have to follow the process. And the big difference you need to understand is that there's a difference between the NTC widescreen and the NTC pixel. What you want, this is the 24p is actually for non-interlace. It's actually for like what is it? I found out that when I did it this way with the 24p, it didn't come out right, but when I did it with the regular NTC widescreen, it came out okay. And do not adjust these. Keep them as they are. Just because you see the 720/480, that has nothing to do with the actual aspect ratio of your video. This is the DVD format. DVDs, by nature, by their design, the operating system that's on the physical disc is only limited to 720/480. It has nothing to do with the actual aspect ratio of your actual video. And that's what a lot of people, when they use this, they get confused. Oh, but my project's 1020/80, but it only says 720. That's the format of the DVD. That's all that is. DVDs can only go up to 720/480. It's when you get to HDMI DVDs and Blu-ray that you can start using the Blu-ray formats. You know, the 1080, the 1080/20. Then you can start doing that if you have a Blu-ray disc. Okay? But if you're just bringing a regular DVD, you know, just follow the workflow and just go ahead and use the regular NTSC 24p 720, and it'll come out fine. It'll come out fine. As you can see in my format, I use them, and they came out just fine. They still came out widescreen. What you need to do, however, is when you bring them into DVD Architect, you can simply go into the preferences. If it'll click, my computer's just freaking slow. All you really have to do is just where is it? Oh, crap. Oh, there it is. Progress says, my bad. All you have to do is just set the aspect ratio for 69. As you'll see, it still says 720, but it will still show up as 69, and that's all you have to do. All you have to do is just make sure in Sony Vegas that you have the aspect ratio when you render it out. Okay, set to set to 16:9. Just have the aspect ratio set to square, but I'm sorry, I forgot to do this, my bad. Okay, there we go. Yeah, have the aspect ratio set to 16.9, and then when you go into DVD Architect, you do the same thing, and it will come out widescreen. It will fill out your screen. There won't be any black bars or anything like that. You just make sure that when you render out to Sony Vegas, you make sure you say stretched video to fill the screen. Just make sure you do that, and everything will come out fine. Again, the 720/480 progressive, actually, well, it's not actually supposed to be progressive. For DVDs, it's supposed to be non-progressive interlace. But anyway, just remember, that's just for the DVD format, because DVDs, again, only go up to 720/480. That's their standard format. Okay, so that is how I did the video, how I did that menu. And the rest of the process is just actually creating the actual menu. Just take the media. I created an introductory page, which is my black man logo, as you saw that. And then this is the main menu, which is called Paris DVD. Page 1 was the main video, which is the actual video that contains the full content, and that's where you see all this. And yeah, I guess, well, I'll just undo that. And then of course from that I created the chapters page, and this is just, and basically it's really basic. The stuff that I did, it really wasn't any really advanced, and this is not really a tutorial, but someone just asked me how I did it, and this is just basically how I did it. It wasn't one thing I should tell you though is how I did this. Right click, create what's called what was it, create, there you go. I think because the project has already been built, it won't show up. But there's a thing when you first create a menu, it's going to ask you to create what are called, what is it? Chapter menus or something like that. I forgot what it was called. And that's where I got these links from. Because when you build your chapter and build your project, this is one thing you should do. I'm so stupid. I should tell you this. When you build your project, or actually, I'm sorry, your media project, not your menu. Come on, Camtasia, stop slowing me down. God. Of course, I only have a 2 GHz processor, 2 GB of RAM, so that's it. That's probably it. When you actually when you're making movies, actually for your DVD, the one thing you might want to keep in mind is that to create these chapters, what you actually need to do, this is very important, is you can actually create the chapters inside Sony Vegas, and when you import them into DVD Architect, they'll automatically appear, and it'll give you an option, there it is, to insert scene selection menu. And when that happens, you just give it a name, and all the menus would appear. And so that's how I created the chapters menu right there. And basically what I did, I just named it chapters, and there we have our menu right there. And this is how it'll do it automatically. But in order for this to work, I'll show you when this project loads completely. Let me just wait for Vegas to completely load. Okay, there, Vegas has completely loaded. Let's go ahead and let's focus the entire timeline here. Okay, you'll see that these little markers here, to create a marker, all you have to do is just go to the point where you want to create a chapter. move your cursor to where you want the chapter to be, and hit the M key. And once you hit the M key, a little orange thing will appear. And I have to wait for Vegas because, like I said, my computer is really slow because it's only 2 gigahertz processor and 2 gigabytes of RAM. So I know you people with your quad cores and your triple cores are probably laughing at me and stuff. Well, I don't care. So just hit M, and then you got your new chapter. Okay, and then when you go and import your media into DVD Architect, your chapters will already be there. And so when you create your chapter menu, pop, it'll automatically click a new menu page, and your things will already be named. You notice how the names match the names that you give them? Well, that's how you create chapters in DVD Architect when you're using Sony Vegas. Okay, so, and one thing to keep in mind is that it's very important when you're creating this. When you're setting these things up, always remember to set the end action. For this case, at the end of my menu, for this particular menu, for my menu, when I played it, I wanted to loop back. So I explained this in another video, actually, how to do that. And I'm just showing how to do that for actual films. When your movie ends, it automatically does what it goes to the most recent menu, or it won't do anything. But if you wanted to actually go back to your main menu, then just select the name of the menu that you wanted to go back to, and it'll automatically, when the movie's over, it'll automatically go back to your menu. Now I'm going to move this towards the end of my media, but I have to wait and just see if it'll actually, yeah, I like to see if it goes back to the menu like it's supposed to, since I set the end action. Hopefully when it ends, I'll go back to the menu. Let's see if it does, because I didn't actually, so when I did it, I don't have a DVD player, and so when I put it in my computer, the computer just exited. There we go, so it goes back to the menu. And when I did it for my sister, unfortunately, I gave her a version where it just stops. It doesn't go back to the menu. But as you can see there, that's how they do it. Now, if you have an extras menu, or a, let's say if I just wanted this to be, wait, I'm sorry, just name this to be extras menu, I can rename this to be extras, and when my movie ends, you know, I can set the end actor to go to my extras. And I'm sure you've seen that in those DVD. You put in your little Spider-Man DVD, and as soon as the movie's over, it goes to like a bunch of pages, and then it goes to, well, that's how they do it. Okay, so that's how that's done. I hope I didn't confuse you too much. I hope I answered some of your questions. If not, flame me on my comments box. And that is it. That is all. It is 3 o'clock in the morning.
Are you sure you're making the right decision?
I really think I'm entitled to an answer to that question.
So I've got stuff to do. Yeah, I guess I misunderstood the actual question. Was how do I change the DVD menu duration and not the resizing the video? It's basically the same thing, except that the step is a little bit different. Okay, here I created an arbitrary menu. It has an introductory movie. It has a, you know, 1 menu page and 2 menu page. I don't know why it's back. It's not showing. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so let's just say, for example, I go to my second menu. Okay, let's wait for the stupid thing to load. So I go there, and let's just say that for whatever reason, the menu is too long. And in this case, as we can see, it's a minute. It's like a full minute, and my duration point comes in right here at 5 seconds. This is where my buttons appear and my menu appears at 5 seconds. Well, that's too long. That really is too long. This whole minute thing is just too long. So I need to specify just how long the menu is. Well, go into menu page properties to make sure you have your menu selected. Menu page properties, and select general, and just select menu length. Now by default, it's on auto calculate. It'll use the length of the movie to determine how long the menu should be. and a DVD architect, I believe the default is under a minute. But if you don't want it that long, then go to menu length in the general tab and click the drop down and use specify. And here you can determine how long you want the menu to be, and this also shows you where your loop point is. Well, I only want the menu to be, say this, let's say I only want it to be some arbitrary value. Let's just say 20 seconds. We put 20 seconds. Now we see that the menu has now shortened to from 19 minutes and 29 seconds. And that, again, it does its own auto calculation. So if we were to preview our little menu here, we would see that 6 seconds in, our little icons will appear. Well, they're not showing up, but we can see them actually. Yeah, there they go. And there's my little back button. And that once we get to 19 seconds, it's actually going to re-loop. Actually, well, it didn't because we didn't tell it to. And this is what we need to do. If you want to re-loop, you have to tell it at which point to loop. Okay? And here's the loop point right here. We want, darn it, come on, click it. The loop point is going to be at the end of the video. Right here. We drag it all the way to the end. 20 seconds. I'm sorry, I did this wrong. My bad. Darn it. Wait a minute. No, I'm sorry, I did this wrong. You have to set the end action. Now the default action, when the menu ends, it just keeps going. But the default action is hold. But if you want it to loop, then you just select a loop. And now what will happen is that when the menu reaches the end, it'll go back to the loop point, which in this case we have at 6 seconds. So now it will work. Inaction applies, is applicable to anything that's on the menu. It could apply to buttons, background media, or actual menu pages. Like whenever you have a movie playing, like this little on menu page 1, for example, I have media here that when I play it, I can set the end action so that it goes back to menu 1 when it's done playing. The same thing is true with this one, with this menu. When we want it to end, we want it to actually go back to the point at which we started, which is at the loop. And that's what we want. So let's go ahead and select our menu again. And I have a really slow computer, so that's why it's acting really stupid. There we go. So little piggies. And we set our end action to loop. And it's going to loop once it gets to 20 seconds. So once we start to play this, it's going to be all dark. Yeah, my computer is really slow. Really, really slow. Because I only have 2 gigabytes of RAM and a 2 gigahertz processor. So once it gets to 19 seconds, you see that? It loops right back to 6 seconds. So let's watch that again. Once it gets to the 20 seconds, it's going to loop right back. Here it goes. 19. And skip. You see that? How it went right back. You're lucky for this video because of the way it's shot, the user won't even realize that it's looped because of the camera jittering. So now we can see that we set the end action so that it'll loop and it'll go right back, so it looks like the video is continuous. Okay, so that's how we set the duration of a video that we have. Once again, we select the actual menu that we want. I think this is, no, it was this one. We select the actual menu that we want. We go to general, we go to menu length, select specify, go to the length, we set the length, we make sure we have the loop point, and when you want it to go back, once it's done playing out, you select a loop, because by default it goes to hold. Or like you see with commercial DVDs, how they have it where you end the movie and it goes straight to the special features. Well, that's what the activate button is. You can actually point to a particular button and say, in this case, I wanted to go back to the intro movie. I can do that. once this menu ends, it'll go back to the intro movie. But we don't want that because that doesn't make any sense. So we just have a loop. Okay? So I hope that answers your question. And again, I'm a lousy tutor, but I hope this answers your questions. Okay? Let me just shut down Camtasia. Okay? Bye-bye. Where is it? Yada 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 yada. Yada video, DV architect question, how do you change video list? Okay. Okay. Here's the video that I did, or I just did this as a test. Actually, let me stop this, because let me put this in medium resolution so that you can see it. Just to show you the menu that I created. It's just like, just do this really fast. Because someone wants to know how you make little icons appear in customized areas. So these are little videos right here. I'm gonna go to this one. Okay, that's our video. Now, if you want to shorten a video that you dropped on your project, okay, drop the video, whatever your little video is, drop it in your little area. In this case, let's go over here to where our icons. I'm going to drop another one on here. I'm going to take this guy. I'm going to put it right here on the menu page. Okay, and there's our video. Just going to put it right here. I guess I don't really care about all this other stuff. I'm just going to say that that video is too long. It's too long. Oh my god. So let's go and click it. Okay, wait for the peaks to build. This is number one. You gotta wait for the software to build the sound files and everything else, because otherwise you won't be able to edit it. Okay, so we're just gonna sit here and wait for it to edit. Anyway, basically what you're gonna do is you're going to take these little yellow thingies here. These are your squishy markers. Okay. So as you can see, it's building the video. It's taking the whole video in its entire length. You can see it there. Now we have our whole video from beginning to end. Okay. We can go through it, and the screen will usually update to show us where we are. These little markers right here, when you double click it, you can actually create chapters when you're DVD. If you're doing a a DVD and you want to create chapters in your DVD. But what you want to do is to shorten it. So let's say that I want to stop it right here. I just only wanted to show this part. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Well, let's go and delete this marker. Let's go and delete this. First of all, I'm just going to take this little yellow corner thing. I'm going to drag it over to where I want the video to start. And I'm going to take this thing and drag it over to where I want the beginning to end. These little markers determine how short your video will appear on the final output screen. So let's say I just only want to show the part of the video where there's a little screen. A little screen here. Okay? So now the screen will eventually update to show us. Yeah, there we go. Now this is not my new movie. So when we go back to our main menu page, well, actually I wanted to make it a little bit further than that. Go a little bit further back. A little further back. Well, that's good enough. I've now shortened my video to less than what it was. Now that I'm done with that, let's go back to my menu page, and you'll see that when we preview our video again, beginning. Oh, hold on, wait a minute. Oh boy, wait a minute. I've got to wait for it to build. There we go. And let's wait for it to build. Let's go ahead and preview our menu now, and then when we click it, it's going to start. It's only going to play the portion of the video that we selected. See? Now our video only plays what we selected and not the entire video. Okay? So once again, to recap, when you want to shorten a video that you dropped on the timeline and you can't do it in a video editor like Vegas or Adobe Premiere, drop the video into your project onto your menu, and it's going to automatically turn into a button. And you can either double click the button to get inside the edit point and just drag these yellow markers to where you want it to, and these little images will show you. It gives you a basic idea of where it's going to begin and where it's going to end. But again, wait for it to build completely, otherwise the screen won't be accurate. Okay? So I hope that answers your question, and yeah. Okay. La-di-da.